Welcome to Mac Bleu, where we introduce you to who is building Arizona, bringing you the people and businesses that shape the landscape around us. From economic development and developers, underwriters and lenders, architects and engineers, to the very builders and suppliers that bring it all together. For all things Mac Bleu, head to www.macandbleu.com and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Now let's join our host, JJ Levinsky.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Mac Bleu. I'm your host, JJ Levinsky, CEO and co-founder of Blue Wave General Contracting. Today I'm lucky enough to have Kristy Young, Business Development Director. I think she's more than that if any one of you know her out in the industry. She's with Mobile Force Refueling, and I'm excited because it's been a while since on the podcast we've had anyone in what I call kind of the supply chain part of what we do. And so Kristy and I talked, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago, or we were exchanging messages, and I'm like, hey, would you come on? Because it's just, I'm excited to look at technology and talk about what's different kind of through your eyes and your perspective, because we get so many things up at this level where it's the architects, engineers, and general contractors. Then down at the next level, we may have a lot of subcontractors that we bring on, or the trades. And then there's you guys that, no pun intended, fuel the whole damn industry, right?
Right.
So, but the best lead-in ever is she's with Mobile Force Refueling, MFers. So it's like, it's the best lead-in ever. We can kind of swear and curse and not get away with it. So with that, welcome, Kristy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Just to kind of set the tone, just a little, people always like to get to know you. So a little bit of background. Did you grow up here? Did you go to school? And kind of what have you been doing for the last 20 years?
Yeah.
Since you're only 30 years old.
Right. That would be nice. I am from Phoenix. I moved here when I was 2 years old, if that counts for anything.
Yeah, you're a native.
A native. I do consider myself a native. Grew up in the Tempe area. I was a Kyrene school district kid. And
we don't hold that against you.
Please don't. Went to Mountain Point High School in Ahwatukee and an ASU graduate. And then
married kids?
Married kids. Been married for 13 years, together for 17, and 2 kids. I got a 9.5-year-old son and a 8-year-old daughter.
Oh, they don't keep you busy.
Oh my gosh, no, they don't let me sleep.
So with that, how long have you been with MFR?
I've been with MFR for 4.5 years now. Yeah.
And where were you before, as far as the business development side of things?
Before that, I was at United Rentals for 10 years, and I was a strategic account manager. So I handled a lot of accounts. United Rentals has a lot of different faucets in the business. You have trench and shoring, power and HVAC, gen rents, and I was essentially the manager on accounts that would try and tangle our accounts to use every 5 divisions of United Rentals.
Okay.
And so it kind of was the bigger national accounts. And there were some, just local accounts here too, but general contractors that kind of need to use underground all the way up to the big boom lifts. And once that gets going, then you have the generators that need to power the building as well. So you just try to get those clients to use every faucet of the
So was MFR a client of yours at United?
I wouldn't say a client, but more just,
you guys definitely,
we work together a lot.
I look at my jobs and I might see both of you interacting all the time.
All the time, and we still do with United Rentals. A lot of rental companies we do work a lot with. I mean, our businesses are almost entwined. They need to supply the generator and they need the fuel to continue powering that generator. And, you just work with them a lot. They're going to be supplying generators in these critical environments that, it can't go down. So we need to understand the consumption and the load base and everything else that goes into keeping those generators running and being there on time. So we do work a lot hand in hand. I wouldn't say exactly, I guess you would say United Rentals is more of a client now to us than vice versa.
And we jumped ahead probably too quickly. I should go back.
Yeah.
For the audience's sake, what is MFR, and what the hell do you guys do?
Okay. We're the big MFers in town. Mobile Force Refueling was started about 22 years ago. Our owner saw a big gap in the fuel industry where a lot of there was a lot of big bulk fueling companies here in town, and found the opportunity in the mobile fueling aspect in the construction market.
Okay.
And the smaller quantity deliveries. We kind of pride ourselves on not having a minimum, and we don't have a maximum. If they need us on site for a forklift that takes 20 gallons, we'll show up.
Is it only fuel, or do you get into the ancillary things as well?
We get into everything.
So it could be hydraulics, it could be, or no?
Yeah, we do. Our main focus is fuel and
okay.
diesel. And once our clients are in the door with doing the fuel and on-site fueling, or even in their yard or anything like that, then they need some hydraulics, DEF, any grease, anything like that, then we can jump in and help them there.
Nice. So what has been, we talked a little bit off air, what has been the key for you guys in your organization as far as what differentiates you from everyone else? Because it's such a niche market.
It's almost everything. It really is. It's really an incredible company, and it's the drivers we work with. They're very reliable. They're very prideful in their jobs. They show up to job sites and making sure everything gets fueled before they leave. And they communicate with me if they need to. If it's my client, it's our trucks. You could buy a fuel truck that's half the cost of ours, but we really take into the safety of trucks and trying to mirror what our clients value on their job sites. And we just don't have a aluminum tank with 5 cracks in it driving down the road. Our trucks are clean and they're polished, and they show up to the job sites, and they have level detecting sensors. We have air eliminating equipment on our trucks to give you the full gallons, the automatic shutoffs and spill kits. And essentially, if a general contractor or anybody wants a fuel company to show up on those job sites, we want to emulate their same values.
So are you guys just in the valley, or are you all over Arizona? Like, what's your geographic reach?
We started here in Phoenix, and this is our biggest hub, I guess you could say. But we are in 40 states. So we have grown quite a bit just through organic growth as well as just acquisitions as well.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
What, so back to the ownership, is it still privately held then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
What, well, I can speak. I mean, when I've seen your trucks, they're gorgeous. I mean, they're immaculate. So
yes.
What, I think everyone would want to know, especially over the last 2 years when everything was escalating and all the problems with supply chain and things like that, what challenges did you guys face other than just, and then how did you get over those challenges?
Well, yeah, that's not easy. If there's a pipeline break or a supply issue with a refinery not bringing in fuel, it's tough for everybody here in town. But I'm going to just kind of go back to my team, and especially our operations and our dispatchers and our owner. When there's a issue with the supply, they're up at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning when we're all sleeping. They're finding fuel. And they're finding trucks, and they're getting drivers, and they're sending them to those fuel locations. So, we have quite a bit of some reserve fuel here in Phoenix to keep our core nest and our core clients going. We have some very critical application clients, hospitals. They can't be without fuel. If those generators go down and they're in the middle of a brain surgery, and those generators need to go on, they need to have a reliable source of having power to their generators, and that would be us.
I think that brings up a really good point is you don't just service construction.
No.
You service a ton of industries. Mm-hmm. So what I think that hospital generator type thing is a great example. So how many different markets and niche things do you get into as a business development person in the refueling? Like, just for the audience sake, like, throw out some examples, because I don't think a lot of people would even recognize what you guys do kind of globally.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And kind of how I tell a lot of people is, if you just drive on the road and you look at the trucks, or they're carrying a forklift or anything on those trucks, everything that you drive by in a day takes diesel almost, So any client, you got the schools, you got the hospitals, we have data centers.
Oh.
The construction market is a big one, but, we have segmented into fleet fueling. So again, like, you look at any truck on the freeway, it needs diesel. And one of the biggest parts of our business is when those trucks are parked at night or during the day, instead of sending those trucks to a QT or flyers or anything. I mean, that's labor, that's a time component for these companies. The FedExes of the world or the Amazons, imagine all those trucks using gas stations, sending a line out the door. We go in there and we fuel all those trucks at night. So you've got food and beverage, you've got the paper companies, the sanitation companies with all their trucks, landscapers. I mean, we really
So do you guys go 24 hours a day?
Yeah, essentially. I would say our trucks are probably not on the road for maybe 3 hours.
Wow.
But if there's a critical application, again, if a data center goes down or a hospital needs fuel, we're getting a truck there.
So going back to that story or kind of the analogy you just gave, I was trying to process as fast as you were talking, thinking of how has that changed in your tenure while you've been at MFR? Because again, if you're the business development person, I own a business, and I'm like, okay, Kristy, I love it, but how are you going to do this, and how can you save me money, or how are you making it easier for me? Why don't I just send my guys and my crew out to get fuel? How do you respond to that?
Well, it's a time component. Really, there's so many different aspects of what that takes, and having, say you have a landscaper, you're sending 4 guys in a truck to go do a neighborhood,
Okay.
but they all have to stop at the gas station, and that might be a 15-20 minute drive, and then it takes them another 10 minutes to pump the gas, get the hot dog, get the soda. They're really there maybe for a full hour, and they're there before the shift and after their shift. They want their sody pop. So, they're spending some time, and when you got 4 guys doing that, and you've got a crew of 50 trucks, that takes time, and it's a component in your business and labor that they could be on the job site for another extra hour or 2 hours, making you guys money rather than doing the mundane things that I can do for you.
True.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
So you guys have, you obviously have gotten over that hurdle, and you guys are excelling at it. I mean, I don't think there's anyone in town that doesn't know of you guys and what you do. But what challenges are you facing now moving forward? Like what, behind the curtain, it's not all just you guys are doing great things, but what challenges are you guys facing, and how are you leveraging technology, or at least what can you share here that isn't proprietary secrets?
NDA. Well, the technology we're stepping into is first class in the world in the aspect of fueling and trucks and mobile fueling. It's the newest and greatest technology, so comes with it is a little bit of some disadvantages.
Okay. Learning curve.
Some wrinkles. But again, I go back to our team and our operations. They work out every single wrinkle that they can, and they work overtime until it's perfected.
Right.
And I would say that's kind of the biggest challenge. But what comes out of that is more efficiency out on the job sites, more accurate readings on the gallons and the trucks and the drivers, and ultimately the reporting side of all of that comes out. If we do these fleet fueling accounts, we go to a truck and everything is barcoded and it has that unit applied to that specific barcode. So if it's a company that has 100 trucks, they're all labeled with a correct unit number. And then, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, they could get their reports, and it's, organized by the truck and the gallons and the cost. And that kind of helps with that technology because it's all automated now.
Yeah, you're just cutting out just tons of riffraff from the accounting, the reporting, the job costing, all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Yep.
With that then, one of the things that jumps into my mind is, are you able to now go, I think of you as primarily a B2B business, right? But with this, have you been able to go B2C? In other words, our government agencies, airports, all these kind of things, are they directly working with you now? Are they working more directly with you now because of your advantage of technology?
Yeah.
And can you give examples of what that looks like?
Well, we do a lot like I would say like the airports and some of the mining.
Mining,
we've
that's a good
done,
example.
Like Amtrak and the railroads and things like that. But I think more of the technology side is very helpful for them. But I would say just more what they've all grown to learn is just the reliability and us showing up, because these companies cannot afford to go down. They need their trains fueled, and we don't really do like actual airplanes, we just do diesel fuel. But like for the on-site on these airports and things like that they do need diesel fuel.
But there's all the support vehicles and whatnot, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the technology is for anyone and everyone, and it's great, and it's it comforts people knowing what we have on our trucks and our people behind the curtains, so to speak. But I guess it's just that for everybody, the technology really is, and the reporting side of it.
So, part of my job on this show is to always look at things through the other lens and challenge you or anybody sitting here. So with that, now in the construction space, we haven't seen a lot of advancements in the EV because it's still primarily diesel driven. Agreed? Right. But I would be remiss if I didn't say, hey, Kristy, do you in ownership see with more, you're starting to see trucks, some fleet stuff go to EV. Is that going to be, do you guys feel threatened by the changes in some EV technology to where you're no longer doing fueling? I'm just curious kind of what you guys talk about privately, if you think that it's still 10 years away, or is it going to be an accelerated market capture against you guys?
I mean, it's something to look at, but it's nothing that has to do with our business. I mean, if you're going to let's go back to the hospital, and you're getting brain surgery and you have to pick which hospital you're going to use, right? Power goes down. Are you going to rely on the hospital that is running a generator off of solar or electric, or are you going to pick the one that has a diesel generator and it's going to fire at will when they need it, So
true. Well, no one's going to factor that into their decision making, but behind the scenes, yeah.
Yeah, and so, when you're at these minings and you got these big articulating dumps, and they're going up these mountains with all this weight, diesel is the ultimate power. And I think the conventional diesel is going to fade out, but what is coming on, and Mobile Force is leading a lot of the charge on it, is hydrogen. Yep. And we're also investing really heavily into the renewable diesel. So you got the vegetable, corn and soy. And it's like cleaner burning, cleaner manufacturing, and a lot of people are going towards that. We use Neste out of California, Neste. And so I think that's kind of the future of where everybody is going to be heading.
Thank you for sharing that, Kristy. What about, go back to the hydrogen? And I'm nascent at understanding. I mean, I've explored a little bit, but what do you know about it that you can share with the audience as far as just talking around, like, where is it at and where have you seen it implemented so far?
Well, I think I'm more versed in where the renewable is, to be honest with you. We're in a little bit of hydrogen with some of the manufacturing plants, but more that I've seen and that we're more involved in currently is the renewable side of it. Okay. And that's going into a lot of the data centers. It could be mixed in with like the regular diesel. Doesn't hurt the engine, doesn't hurt the generator, but...
Which we have no lack of data centers here in Arizona, right?
No. We're quite busy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Switching gears away from MFR as a company and what you guys do, curious to share a little bit more about you and kind of you've obviously been very successful as a business development person / thing. What there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast or watch it that are in the same role as you. What would you mind sharing about what's made you successful? Like, what are the hurdles that you've overcome to be successful in what you do?
I think one of the things that I always tell people that I meet, especially maybe interns that are getting into sales or business development, is always do what you say you're going to do. And it's really hard.
That's a novel
Sometimes.
approach, Kristy.
It is, but it's really important. You tell these people, call my cell phone and I'm going to answer it. I better answer it, And from what I've learned, just being in sales and business development, that's actually probably the top thing that's most important to most people is they're not calling me to tell me, what shoes they're wearing for the day. They need something, and I better answer my phone.
On that, what are you doing here in the Valley as far as networking groups? What do you do outside of the conventional other than the typical LinkedIn and things like on how we all know each other, just in the camaraderie within the construction space?
I was in NAWIC for a little bit, and I was in Arizona Builders. I would just kind of go to some meetings where the mixers and meet everybody. I would say that ever since I had some kids and became a soccer mom.
Those damn kids.
Those dang kids.
Do you drive a minivan now?
Thank goodness. No, you can't get me out of that truck. No.
By the way, I did meet Kristy in the parking lot, and she's even got a bigger truck than me, so it was pretty cool.
I do love that
She's
truck.
got about 4 slots she took up because she can't fit it in the regular way. So you wear the part. Maybe going back now, I loved how we got into the kind of a little bit of the emerging markets of where you guys are going with the diversity of the fuel thing. You said you're in 40 states. What other any global aspects you guys are trying to do or going to other markets that you can share, or is it all just kind of top secret stuff? Because if you're in 40 states, what's going to prevent you from going further?
Yeah, I think we're going to perfect these 40 states and probably get a little bit bigger there. I'm not too sure about anything globally.
But you're still headquartered here, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
And do you have to travel a lot or not?
Coming up.
Yeah.
Plan to do a little bit more. Mostly I have time to do the Las Vegas. I go up there quite a bit, and that's kind of where I started working was United Rentals in 2008. Was there for about 3 years. So kind of going back there is almost like a high school reunion with some of the contractors. It is funny. Sometimes I see a project engineer I knew in 2008 is now running one of the biggest general contractors in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
So it is. It's kind of like a big high school reunion, seeing where everybody's.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
I know what I forgot to ask is when you were talking about your pride in your organization as far as kind of a culture and an attitude about what you're doing. We try on the show, we try to share a lot of, not secrets, but just the likability of what we can share within that kind of culture, organic growth type things. Mm-hmm. What are you guys doing specifically with either training, culture, atmosphere, operations? Like what goes on behind the scenes at MFR that you wouldn't mind sharing with the rest of us?
Training is fun. When I first started,
how do you pull off fun?
It was my 35th birthday, and so I felt like it was my midlife change. And I showed up to work at 3:30 in the morning, my first day, and Lucas was there. And if you don't know Lucas, he's our business developer, director, sales guy, awesome guy. There to just wish me luck for the day. The lights are on, people were there, the drivers are all doing their pre-checks and they're all saying good morning, and I hop in the truck with the driver and went for a good 10, 11 hours with the driver, and he stopped for lunch at Quick Trip. We got some trail mix and off we were going to the next site.
You got your soda and your hot dog.
Oh my gosh. And I did that for a full week with different drivers.
Oh.
And I think by the end of the week, I was having brain zaps. I was so tired. And, getting out of the truck with the driver every single time and seeing what they do was very eye-opening. And all of them had such a great attitude. And if one driver was done with his shift 9-10 hours in, and the other guy had another 2 or 3 hours to go, they're calling each other to help take each other's jobs off, and help them get off on time.
Okay, where does that attitude start from?
Definitely our owner and our operations.
Okay.
A lot of the guys with dispatchers, they've all kind of worked from the ground up. They were all out there fueling, and then they're all in the office too. And so we all understand what it is to be out in the field and fueling and how hard it can be. And if you have technology issues, handheld issues out in the field, we all know how hard it can be. And that's just how the culture is. We have a very open office concept. They're cubicles, but you can see everybody. And we want everybody to hear each other's conversations. So if someone had a phone conversation with this guy at 11 o'clock and he called back at 2 p.m., everybody knows what's happening with those conversations and where that client is and what they need. But the culture over at Mobile Force, and one of our taglines is don't lie, don't cheat, and work hard. And that has been drilled down all the way from the top down, or the bottom up kind of a thing. Everybody's out there all for the sake of the company and do a good job, and ultimately do a good job for our clients.
Sounds infectious in a good way.
It's great. If you've ever seen Ted Lasso, it's kind of like that. Everybody's just in a good mood.
There you go, Sean. Remember that one.
And they're all the diamond dogs are, and we're all in there together, and we're all trying to figure something out. It's really great. It's one of the things that drew me to Mobile Force was just that everybody was in it together. And
do you mind sharing who is your owner? You can't say it. Okay.
No.
Okay, fine.
NDA.
That's fine.
No, it's just kidding.
No, it's good. I was just going to give a shout out publicly, but we'll keep it confidential.
Yeah.
Just everyone can direct their good vibes towards Lucas and Kristy. So
Lucas, Kristy. We have Kyle over there, Ryan. Everybody's great.
There you go. Well, kudos to you, because
thanks.
That is most companies out there are trying to be great, right? No one just signs up to be mediocre. But cracking that code is what is key for everyone. And when I think of every week when we have guests on the podcast, typically we get into the culture, the human the human element, the human capital side, and we always keep peeling back that onion to find things that we can share, because it's inspirational to everyone else. It's like, I don't think of it as emulation or copy, typically, because everyone's got their own DNA, right, as far as an organization. But to see, I don't know how you feel, but every time I hear a success story, it makes me want to be better, or makes us want to be better. And I think that happens kind of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, kind of at an ecumenical level out there. Like, I think of a successful job site, and you see a lot of them, where it's like, okay, if the GC is great, and some of the, let's say 80% of the subs are great, and the ones that are on the periphery that are struggling, they have two choices. They either look at that and aspire to be better, or guess what happens? They get weeded out, and you don't see them again.
Right.
And it's like, I think that, I'm not saying it's gotten better or worse, but I think people are being more aware and cognitive of it, and trying to put their resources and efforts into that. Do you feel the same way?
Oh, for sure.
Because you visit a ton of sites, and I'm sure you can see it.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure you walk on some and go, oh my God, this is like top notch. And there's other ones you're like, okay, there's other ones that aren't top notch.
Right. And I'll talk to anyone on a job site. I'll talk to the guy that's pushing the broom.
Right.
And I'll talk to the guy that's driving the forklift all the way up to the general contractor. And if the owner, I'll walk into the owner's trailer and introduce myself to them. And I hear a lot, and people are not, and I'm not afraid to ask questions, and people are not afraid to tell me what they're thinking. And I'm genuinely interested when I walk onto these job sites if they think they have a good general contractor. Right. If they think if they're organized and there's communication and they're supported. And I hear handfuls of who's good and who's not. And it's interesting. But it's very important to exude, the positivity and the teamwork, and we're in it together. And seeing general contractors that do that with their subcontractor and empower them. And let them know that they appreciate their work and their efforts and their labor. Yeah. It's definitely contagious out there.
On that note, because you're out there so much in the trenches, What's the general consensus right now with the attitude in the Arizona market as far as, is everyone still optimistic that all of our work is going to continue? Is there pessimism right now? Is there anything regarding the economy? I mean, what's the vibe that you're getting out there right now, at least for the next few quarters?
I'm getting great feedback, honestly. I have so many contractors that are backlogged through 2025, and they're still working on work for 2026. So that's positive for me. Everybody needs diesel, so it's a great outlook. But
Kristy's going to get her numbers this week. I'm just kidding.
I got 2025 figured out. But it's great. I mean, it's really exciting to be a part of it. And I started as a little kid in Tempe on Ray and Kyrene, growing up over there, and I remember on the other side of the freeway was a dump. And that's Ahwatukee, where I live now. It's thriving. We've got a freeway. And it's just so fun to be a part of that and see the city grow. And, almost every single job site here in Phoenix I've been on for the last 12 years. And as far as Mobile Force, we've been on every single job site in the last 25 years. It's just something fun to see. And everybody is thriving right now.
You do get to see a lot of cool stuff.
Oh, yes.
What haven't I asked you that you think I should, or sharing about either you, the organization, the status of the construction industry?
I think I pretty much nailed it with Mobile Force and what kind of company we are.
Yeah.
Just a overall fantastic company and great people. I myself, I just try to align myself with people that work as I do, have family values as I do. We all like to have our hobbies, and we all love to have a little work-life balance as well. So, I think we covered a lot of everything that I do and Mobile Force does, and we all just kind of...
What about advice for younger people that are looking at the sales business development? I mean, you went into a little bit, but is there anything else that, again, you've been around the block, so to speak.
Yeah.
Is there any other advice you could give younger people that are looking at that?
Yeah, there's so much advice. You could write a book on it, and I'm sure they have.
I know, but I'm talking about the Kristy advice.
Again, it kind of goes back to just waking up in the morning, having a positive attitude, and going.
I love it.
It's a little hard, and I'm very like ADHD, where I am constantly on the phone changing directions every 5 seconds. But I think just being consistent and showing up and being there, if I haven't shown up to a job site in a month, my customers like to let me know that they haven't seen me. And so people really do value relationships and bridging the gap from a company to being out in the field.
Yeah.
There were a few companies that I worked with at United Rentals that was using Mobile Force and really enjoyed working with Mobile Force, but until I came along, there was no bridge to bridge that. So I think just always being consistent and waking up, showing up, and doing as you say you will do is big for the sales.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't say, do a shout out to you and MFR that, hey, if anyone's out there, I think Kristy said it well. I mean, I remember when I first met these guys, I still am a nobody, but I was really a nobody back then. And you answered our calls, and I'm sure we met through one of our key subcontractor trade partners. And I just know that Kristy and her team, she was right. They'll take care of you whether you got one vehicle or 2,000. You guys do a wonderful job in the Valley. And I think, again, it's just a key and testament to that it takes the whole ecosystem to drive what we have in our industry right now. Okay. And I think you guys are a real catalyst in how it can be world-class at a level that most people don't see. So kudos to you. And thanks for coming on today.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.